There are several provinces in this area, and each one has its own chief and townspeople. They all answer to the king of the area, King Raja Purahan Singh, and he in turn answers to the British. So each province is taxed by the king, and the king keeps his portion and passes the majority to the British. Let's say the villagers produce 100% of their crops. 90% is the tax for the king, and he may keep 10% and the British take 80%. I know what you're thinking. Disgusting. Damn taxes. So the villagers live on little and do all the work. Typical government. The British only have this much power because they have slowly taken it, and the kings and villagers have slowly given it. Tale as old as time. The beasts. So there's this fort, camp, military base called a cantonment, and this is where the British stay and run this particular king in the village of Champaner. This is a beautiful compound, and we see how privileged the British were living and how much overabundance they had. The differences between the takers and the givers is horrific. Okay, so you got it? Great. Let's move forward because we have a long story for you. Let's meet Bhuvan, who's crouching in the woods stopping our British commander, Captain Russell, from properly hunting antelope. They will have a sad interaction where a rabbit is killed as well. Don't watch, it's too sad. This is our introduction to Bhuvan and his gentle nature. He's a fighter for the underdog and hater of British frat boys. Bhuvan is the man. This is the first of many conflicts between Bhuvan and Captain Russell. Gauri is a sweet villager girl who's looking lovely and talking amongst the villagers. We know she'll be Bhuvan's love interest. He's the hero and she's the prettiest of the girls. It's just how it is. Bhuvan, of course, acts clueless about the fact that she's in love with him throughout most of the movie. He's a tough guy, but he also has a soft side and will find his way to his heart and hers before it's all over. The villagers are each unique in their own way, with their own abilities and quirks. We have a slingshot master among us, people. We will meet them all through the next 4 hours. Yes, you heard me. A story this powerful cannot be contained. You'll get to know them all during your time in India. But first, let's go see the king where he's lunching with Captain Russell and his sister Elizabeth. So Captain Russell is a douche essentially, and his sister is not. She's quite lovely. She's everything the captain is not. Captain Russell has decided he wants to raise the taxes on the provinces just because he can. Our king, King Purahan Singh, is very thrown by this request. As we are, sir. He's walking a thin line between defending his people and obeying orders from the British. You see, the villages have been in a drought. The monsoon season is dry, and with no rain, there are no crops. The villages barely made the last year's tax, and it was late and not complete even then. We will hear them say later. The king worked with them so they wouldn't themselves starve. He seems like a nice king, just torn between the two worlds he has to live in at the same time. So anyway, King Singh is shocked and explains to Captain Russell that it can't happen. Like getting blood from a turnip, my grandma would say. Russell says it'll happen unless the king eats the meat on the table before them.
Eat the meat, Your Highness.
The king laughs this off, and it seems that he thinks the captain is joking. We discover the king is vegan and religious and will not eat meat. Russell accuses him of putting himself above his people, but the king says, "I cannot betray my religion for my duty." Damn right. He's torn that he cannot help his people, but he's right to say no. So the tax will go forward. Elizabeth looks disgusted with her brother, which is the only response one should have at this point towards Captain Russell. Russell, being a horrible person he is, just showed us how manipulating and gross he is. This was an important lesson for us viewers. We needed a low base set, and Russell didn't disappoint. Let's go back to the village for a time. Bhuvan and Gauri will have a couple of sweet moments. They'll be setting the scene for us of their love story. We'll find out that she's obsessed and he's like, but also not really. He just won't be in touch with his feelings until later when the story needs it. So we have a cool drummer boy. He starts banging his drum and shows us the cloudy skies above. The town goes crazy, and guess what? They surprise us. This is a musical. The village will dance and sing a song for rain and blessings and growth. And they all know their lines and are choreographed to perfection. The whole village shows out for us, and it definitely gives High School Musical a run for its money. This is where we get to know everyone essentially, and what their story's about. Good people work hard with struggles, but they will stick together. But alas, the sun chases away the clouds and the village starts stressing. They receive the news that taxes are raised, and they panic. As they should. It seems hopeless. Bhuvan is again going to step up here as our hero. He will step up with ideas and leadership, and it appears throughout that the chief will in fact listen to and follow Bhuvan's advice. The young are bringing new school ways to the OGs. I like it. Bhuvan is going to have it out here with Russell when they meet again. Let's not forget the woods and hunting. They have an instant disdain for each other.
इसका फैसला कल की बात करेंगे.
The villagers are stressing to the king that the taxes cannot be doubled and they beg for a reprieve. Bhuvan will be drawn into a very intense ultimatum where he's forced to decide on a fate that will change everything for the village. So Russell, being the condescending, arrogant, self-centered so-and-so that he is, decides that a proper match of cricket, being a man's man game, can decide the fate of all involved.
और हम तुम्हारा लगान माफ कर देगा.
He tells the people they can come back in 3 months and play a cricket match against the British. If they win, they can avoid taxes for not only that year, but for 2 more years after that. That's huge. The terms will also stand for the other provinces as well, but if they lose, they have to pay all 3 years at double tax. Russell insists that Bhuvan makes this decision solely on his own for not only his village, but for all the other neighboring villages as well. The people gather at his feet, yelling no, but Bhuvan knows they have played a similar game and is taking his new role as a hero seriously. You can see the boy become a man at this moment. To change his village life for the better or worse for the people is a burden indeed. He seems to be thoughtfully considering all options. Nothing's being taken lightly here. He will look Russell dead in the eye and say, "I accept." They will now have 3 months to prepare and practice, and the villagers are completely up in arms.
शरत मंजूर है.
At the cantonment, we will see Russell and his sister Elizabeth disagreeing with his treatment of the people. She's also very upset about this match as well. It's unfair, she feels. It's clear she likes her brother as much as we do, which is not at all. Gilli-danda is a game similar to cricket, and Bhuvan will try to show the village how easy it is because they have played before in a way, but it becomes obvious that it's much harder than expected. He will be the first to join because he will beat his drum in support and decide if he can hit the drum, he can hit the ball. Slowly, we will see the villagers one by one take his side and see the optimism behind the decision. They can play and win. It's the only way. If they don't try, they will be in a lose-lose situation anyway, so they try to learn to play, but it will develop slowly. Several other chiefs in other provinces, along with their villages, will come and want to throw down with Bhuvan. His decision affects them all, and they aren't happy. He made the decision without the consent of all involved. But hey, he was on the spot. There was no time for an email or FaceTime call. He tries to show them the reason behind his decision, but they won't have it. His friends and family will come to his aid. Elizabeth is going to take pity on the village when Bhuvan and a few others sneak over to see the game being played. They want to understand the rules and such. She's going to teach them how to play the game. There will be several lessons and she'll fall in love with Bhuvan over the next several months. Of course she falls in love with him. He's our hero and we need a love triangle with Gauri. A couple more villagers will come around when they see that the British sister is going to help, but it's not enough. You know what they need? Yes, you guessed it. A song. Goli is a villager that is really good with a slingshot. He's going to step up and pitch later on because he's got a great arm. He's going to be awesome. Keep an eye on him. Also, Bhuvan's brother-in-law finally changed his mind as well. He at first told Bhuvan that he was trying to hold on to sand with his dream to keep the game going. But the musical number they all perform together changes a lot of hearts. Gauri obviously confirms her loyalty to Bhuvan, which gets him thinking and ushers in the song. She also helps win some of the villagers over. These two make a great team. Elizabeth is proving to be a great ally, and none of this could happen without her. She's in for a heartache though, but shh, don't tell her. They need her support. Russell gets in trouble and we're here for it. Arrogant, smug man. His boss tells him that he has no right to make this decision and that his insubordination could encourage others to do the same, and then chaos would ensue. They cannot go back on their word without looking weak, so they decide that if the villagers win the match, then Russell has to pay the taxes for the 3 years for all the provinces, and he'll be shipped off to Africa. Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
This makes the match that much more important and dramatic. Bhuvan and Gauri will have a lovely dance here and a little flirty back and forth. Gauri will become further jealous of Elizabeth, who's attending the ceremony. This plays out in a movie love triangle textbook kind of way, but just watch and let it be. It has to happen. Back at the British compound, we discover Russell and the crew chatting with a Judas. That's not his name. His name is Village Creeper, or rather Laka. He's jealous and wants Gauri, so he betrays his village to get even with Bhuvan, giving info and throwing the game at one point. I suppose in a village this small where everyone's related, it's important to get your clutches in whatever man or woman isn't related. This pool is small, so jealousy probably runs rampant. Villagers will chase him to the temple. Insert men with pitchforks chasing Frankenstein. Bhuvan will save him and give him a second chance, of course. What's a hero without a heart? Laka will learn a valuable lesson, but will not get Gowri. Ouch. All our villagers are joining in and learning so well, and everyone's coming together and doing their part. They're playing to their strengths. We will meet a new character as well. He was once a British soldier but changed his evil ways. He left the dark side and is a strong cricket player. He's cool. Russell is going to get upset with Elizabeth a few more times and ban her from the villagers, and Elizabeth will literally give zero crap about what Russell wants. And in fact, she will give the villagers a cricket ball of their own. She will also confess her love to Bhuvan, and he won't understand. It won't matter anyway because she cannot have him. That's now how this story goes. Have you been watching? It's pretty predictable, I think.
I'm falling in love with you.
So one of the moments that has been building throughout finally sees its climactic moment when Bhuvan finally declares his love for Gowri in a song. We are so happy. Everyone is, and they can finally be together. This has seriously been a thing, but not a thing for a while, so we're very happy when we finally get there. This is starting to give me Grease vibes. Also, I think if more men sang their feelings, the world would be a more beautiful place. I think if we all sang and danced in the streets from time to time, we could accomplish almost anything. A good song, a little choreography. I mean, we've tried everything else so far. Let's bring back flash mobs. So our cricket ball goes outside of gameplay, and we see it has rolled near a meek man working in the field with a crippled hand. Bhuvan asks him to throw the ball back, and when he does, we see it has some fierce backspin on it. Our man Bura thinks he's in trouble, but Bhuvan is so impressed with his spin ball that he wants him to play. This is a powerful scene here, so pay attention. Not that you weren't before. My narration is captivating, I know. So there's a caste system in India, and our guy is the lowest of the low with his disability. The villages freak out, and Bhuvan is about to educate his people. He will, in true hero fashion, ask them, are you any better? What makes them think they're above him? He's working just like they do, and he can't help his disability. Why are they any better than he? This is why our hero is the hero, because everyone is worthy. He stands up for injustice for all. Someone get this man a cape. Everyone comes around and realizes their evil ways. So now we have a secret weapon with Bura and that backspin. We'll now have another song, this one about unity and worth. Lovely song. Listen on your own time though, it's long. We will see all the villagers traveling to cantonment. The woman in bright, beautiful colors and bangle bracelets, and the men all praying and blessings being given for the match. It's game day. We're about to find out that the match is 3 days long. 3 days. Fun fact, that's also the length of this movie. The refs are brought in from outside, so there's no cheating, and the Brits all show up looking smug and starched. Our humble villagers are nervous and scared. We are at the point in our movie that we all start getting nervous. This is their lives and their livelihood. They are good, honest, and beautiful people, and they just want what is fair. That's all anyone wants. Fair is fair. I see Billie Jean saying this from the 80s movie. Anyone else? Just me? Day 1. This day is hellish and brutal for our group. Yes, I said our, because if you're on the side of the British, you're wrong. No, don't argue, you're wrong. So to say they take a beating is an understatement. The bright spot on this day will be Bura and his amazing throw. Day 2. We find our ever-optimistic team catching up. They're giving it all they've got and are doing pretty good. This will be awesome until they start heading back downhill. They, mostly Bhuvan, will start to feel horribly defeated after this day. Back at the temple, the women start singing, and they will start a song that will carry through the entire village. And it will be a song asking for support. They are somber and hopeful. Day 3. Last day of our match. After spending a majority of your day with us, you should know this is the movie moment we've been waiting for. Bhuvan and Bura are the shining stars, and to say they work their butts off is an understatement. There will be many teammates coming in and out on both sides. Everyone's getting tired, and the back and forth is great drama. They will cry and cheer and yell and despair on this day. Bhuvan remembers back to the day the challenge was issued, and he accepted the struggles to get where they are now. Learning the games and all the singing, he's feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. He spoke for his people, and their future is solely on him at the end of the game. Our hero is tormented when they lose. But wait, the ref will say there's one more ball. and they win. The crowd goes wild, and our sweet, worthy villagers can celebrate a life of freedom, if just for a moment. They were fighting for their way of life, and the good guys won. Not only did they win the game, they got rain. It's raining. The skies are blessing them, and the joy and happiness is overtaking them all. I am thrilled, and you should be too. They will have honor and rain and crops and no taxes. This sounds like an amazing life. The cantonment was shut down and all troops removed. Russell will leave town with his tail between his legs and soon to be broke. 3 years of taxes for all provinces is a lot. Off he goes to Africa. Bye, Felicia. Elizabeth will get a lovely goodbye with the villagers, and Bhuvan will tell Elizabeth, "We'll never forget what you've done for all of us." She will leave in tears, but tears of joy. Love lost, but head up high. Bhuvan and Gowri will be married, and the king himself will bless the wedding, and everyone lives happily ever after. The end. That was an awesome, beautifully told story. I can't lie, it was long as hell, but worth it. Surprised by the musical aspect, but I'm not mad. The women were beautifully dressed, and the music was bangin'. 10 out of 10. Be sure and have snacks and water nearby, you'll need it. So, would you have accepted the challenge? Could you take on that responsibility and follow through? Could your village or town or city sing and dance in that kind of unison? Things to ponder. Until next time.